Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and today we're going to talk about the refining process that's in place in the 3.12 patch. And to this point, you've seen me cover the new mining user interface and how to actually start a job at the refinery. But what we haven't been able to do so far has been showing collecting the job and selling it to a destination. Now, the reason for that delay is that each of the PTU patches that were coming and going were happening in between when I was starting a job at the refinery and logged back in to do it. So I lost progress and had to start all over again. But actually, on the last effort that I had before we went to live, I actually ended up having this job sustained between patches. So here we go. We can finally cover it. So if you recall my second mining video, it was a different load than this one, but I did record my raw ore sale, and it was going to be about 6,000 or so credits if I were to sell at the standard mining terminals. However, when I went to the refinery terminal, I was presented with 6 different refining methodologies. Each of those comes with different cost levels, speeds, and yields. Now, for my purposes, I chose the electrostarolysis method, which was supposed to come with moderate speed, moderate cost, and moderate yield. Now, as far as the speed, I think it was the second fastest, but it still took about an hour and 41 minutes to complete. Now, when that terminal is working correctly, after you get your quote, you'll notice that you will actually have it ballpark your end amounts of goods under the yield column. And if you know your market values, you'll have a pretty good idea of how things are going to play out for you in the end. And that'll help you decide if refining all of the materials is worth the time and money to do it. For example, on the load that I brought in for testing, I had a lot of corundum and some beryl, which neither really sells for that much value, even as a commodity. So spending the time and money to refine may have not been in my best interest. Now, in my load, I really should have targeted the hephaestonite only, as that's the one that carries a much higher value than the other ones that were in my prospector. And it could have saved me time and money. Now, so the cost to refine my load was 2,172 UEC. So I logged off and came back in the next day to head back to Hurl L1, and lo and behold, my job completed. And I was actually able to select my MSR from the refinery terminal to have that cargo loaded up. When I got to my MSR, there it was, looking like nice boxed commodities in my cargo hold ready to go. From there, I decided to go to Lorville to sell, and typically when you bring your mined goods to Lorville or the other major cities, you're landing and then selling at the admin office, which at Lorville is at the Metro Center. But since this is now a refined product, it's basically a commodity, I'm now taking this over to the Central Business District. Once there, you're able to sell and see your earnings, which for my load was a total of 9,617 UEC. So, if I step back and we really look at what took place, I made a total of 9,617. Now, if I had sold that same load as ore, I would have made about 6,000 credits. So there's a difference there of about 3,600 credits that looks like my revenue. But to find profit, there's cost involved in that equation, which was my fee at the refinery of 2,172. So my real profit at the end of all of this was about 1,450 UEC. A little over 1,400 UEC for almost 2 hours of waiting hardly justifies that margin, so I think there's some lessons to be learned from here. The first is that mining has effectively been nerfed from a profit perspective, while gaining more complexity and interesting elements in gameplay. You now have to decide if you're going to wager on finding pure elements in your rock, or if you're going to find the raw materials and what you're actually going to be targeting as far as your mining. Beyond that, you need to now understand the values of rocks more than ever before. I think where this becomes more helpful is if you're out mining and you have some good stuff, but you also have some of that raw ore that's in your cargo hold. You can kind of supplement your run by getting better materials, but it takes time out of your day to do it at the refinery. I think what we're really going to see here is that this is a nice change for the mole, but for the prospector dealing in less quantity, you're seeing more of a negative impact without some of that gain in profits that you're going to see on the larger capacity mining ships. I think what this also highlights is that I need to spend a little bit more time understanding the value of raw material, refined material, and the different results of the refining processes. And there will be a video with best practices coming sometime soon to cover what I feel is the best approach. In the meantime, if you guys have found some of those best practices already, please share them below. Otherwise, I think that's probably going to do it for this video. So if you guys have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned for more coming your way soon. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and take care.